Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps, man? Let's get back to Iraq. There's a couple of things going on. Plus, I want to respond to somebody who's making a comment. I'll get into that here in just a moment. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. And you know I have an alternative website over there. There's a lot of great, useful information. I encourage you guys to go over there and check it out. Let's respond real quick. So I'm kind of flattered, I guess. I didn't realize that other so-called gurus check on my videos. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Every now and then I run across somebody else's. I'm not sure if I ever ran across Caproni's. Let's see. I know the name because him and Jeff used to fight, I guess, all the time, but who knows? Pimpy needs to listen in mathematics. Moi? He thinks Iraq can pass Kuwait's exchange rate. Of course I do. Kuwait only has about 40 billion dinar in circulation. Very good. While Iraq has well over 45 trillion, that's 55 trillion is what they've produced. They either need to significantly reduce the currency in circulation via a float over time, or they would have to redenominate, as I've already mentioned, reducing trillions to billions. Well, that's nice of you to mention. That's been brought up several times in my videos as well. But if you heard the one video, you should have probably went back and heard them all. I've already addressed this situation. I already know. I'm aware of how many trillions of dinars they have. My thing was when I made a comparison, that is in all things lined up, like the stars, the moons, the whole 9 yards. Can they pass them up? Yes, of course they can. Come on, they got a lot more there, big guy. Or girl, I'm not sure, actually. That was pretty sexist of me, assuming you're a guy. Well, whatever it is, Shim, my bad. I really don't know much about you, to be honest. So here's the deal. I already spoke about this several times in several videos. We know they created 55 trillion. It says so right on their website. What I talked about is the fact that for, 5 years, they spend between $1 and $1.5 billion of the oil revenues buying dinar off the open market. Nobody knew what the number was, how many of them they bought, how many was destroyed. We know they destroyed them. There's confirmation of that. And I saw the report and did a video on it. Said that 72% of the dinar was destroyed, not the old dinar, this dinar that we're playing with right now. 72%. That's what those oil revenues were going to. Not to mention the amount that was burnt up and destroyed by ISIS and the number of dinars that were destroyed during the flood. The truth is, we're not exactly sure how many is out there in circulation, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, when I first got into this, I was like, there's no way in hell. They have way too many of them. We know that the United States is holding between 11 and 14 trillion of it, and we know central banks are holding on to God knows how much. There's also private entities that are holding on to God knows how much. We don't know how much is in circulation, to be honest. And I've said in other videos, I think the reason why it's important for them to recover the stolen funds is so that they can have a more accurate idea of how much is in circulation. So they can decide whether or not it's feasible for them to do a rate change that high. It's always possible they could come out and make some kind of announcement and do an RI or an RV or whatever. But my feeling is they're going to go up in increments. Whether it's fast or large increments, it remains to be seen. There's a whole lot pending on the dinar. But see, I just don't sit around here waiting for an RI or an RV or anything like that. I take a look at what's going on with the country in whole and try to decide whether or not there's a possibility based on what's going on in that country that it will go up in value. And there's a lot of upside to Iraq. I get what you're saying. And for the record here, they either need to significantly reduce their currency in circulation via a float over time. Well, a float doesn't reduce the currency. A float is a type of way to determine the exchange rate. That's all that is. So I'm not sure how you think a float over time would reduce the currency. See, now a LOP, yeah, of course. They can always do a LOP, and that's been talked about. And I'm not saying they're not capable of doing a LOP, but they just devalued the currency. So a LOP always affects the poor people, causes confusion. There's a lot of issues with a LOP. That doesn't mean they won't do a LOP. They just started a marketing campaign right now trying to encourage people to use the Iraqi dinar to strengthen it. So I can't imagine him going through all this effort to try to build a strong economy and then also strengthen the dinar only to turn around and damage it by lopping it. I mean, I could be wrong. We'll see. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I agree. There's no way in God's green earth they're going to make an announcement with 45 trillion dinars. I've number crunched a million times. I've dug information going all the way back to God knows when, trying to read this, trying to read that, trying to get any type of information I could about an accurate count of the Iraqi dinar. And it's impossible, as you can imagine, but you get a pretty good idea. So 72% of it's destroyed. That still leaves a lot of trillions. So I get what you're saying. I do appreciate the shout out. The Association of Iraq's Private Banks participates in the conciliation meeting between states of Qatar and Iraq. It seems like almost every day more and more articles come out about moves that are being made by Al-Qadimi and his cabinet. Moves that definitely seem to be putting them on the right track. They're building relations, and those relations are going to bear fruit. All countries are talking about what they could do to work with one another to help each other out. We know they're talking about different types of trades, ways to help each other with security, to fight terrorism, as well as investing in different areas of interest like education, agriculture, healthcare, the economy. More and more, Iraq is putting themselves out there on the international scene. When it comes to the dinar, I just find it very hard to believe that they're going to be able to keep it up with this rate. Once all these agreements start kicking into gear, maybe Caparoni's right. Maybe they'll do a lop. So we'll see, but I don't think so. Qatar's over here working out relations with Iraq. Like it says right here, it says we look forward to strengthening cooperation and economic partnership between the two countries, noting that Iraq's banking sector, under the supervision of the central bank, is making great strides in growth and services during the current period. If today there are more than 70 private banks spread in, it implements international law and instructions and provides services to most citizens. So there are currently more than 5 million active bank accounts. That's nice. At one time, there was something like less than 9% of the people had a bank account. Right here, you can see it's growing at 44% annually. New bank accounts, that's pretty good. And the bank deposits amount to about 85 trillion dinar, or $57 billion. The volume of lending rose to 50 trillion dinars as banks work to enhance economic stability despite the great challenges facing the Iraqi economy due to the outbreak and the decline in oil value. So the oil prices going up was a big help. There's no doubt about it. So this is good. Again, it seems like every day we look in here, we're seeing these types of articles. And you can see right here, it says, today we translate the state of Qatar's keenness on the future and stability of its sisterly Republic of Iraq. And we actually comply and say to His Highness, the Emir of the state of Qatar, of the necessity of Iraq's restoration of its leading position and the consolidation of its national sovereignty by building the state's institutions and supporting the pillars of security and stability, in which the economy is a central pillar. Nice. That's what we like hearing. Deputy Secretary General of the Council of Ministries discussed with the World Bank the indicators of improving business environments. See again, more business stuff, more economic growth. Anyways, it goes on to say in here, in his annual report, by improving the regulatory environment for the private sector and its workers. And one of the basic items in achieving economic growth and motivating young people to engage in the labor market and shift towards the private sector. The representative of the World Bank indicated, according to the statement, that the bank is a key partner in supporting Iraq's aspirations to improve in the business environment and implement strategic plans and programs to achieve economic growth in implementation of Iraq's commitment to the terms of the white papers approved by the government earlier in this regard. Nice. I just don't like anything that the IMF's involved in and the World Bank, just to be quite honest with you. But so again, it's looking good. I like this. I love coming in and reading the news and seeing these types of articles. Al-Qadimi confirms that he has reached full readiness to hold the election. That means guns are locked and loaded. Well, not in this case. The ballots are locked and loaded. We ready to do this? Let's pull for Al-Qadimi to come through and do another term. I really like what he's been doing, at least on paper. I don't know in real life. People over in Iraq, they know better than I do. But it appears like every day we look at articles, there's some big strides that have been taken in the right direction for Iraq since Al-Qademi's been in office. During the cabinet session held today, Al-Qademi stressed the importance of integrative work between state institutions in order to achieve the desired goals and push the wheel of development forward in a way that contributes to the upgrading of the country and its repercussions on the lives of citizens. Love the way he talks. Full readiness has been reached with regards to holding the elections next October, coming up very quickly here, after the government fulfilled its obligations and complete all the requirements of the technical and security electoral process. Come on, Al-Qademi. The government advisor talks about the benefits of a sovereign wealth fund. I know they talked about this before. I already thought they had some type of fund that was similar to this, but it was being held just because of the punishment they were under. Advisor to the Prime Minister of Financial Affairs, Saleh, confirmed on Tuesday that the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund will maximize crude oil exports revenues instead of consuming them in an unproductive budget. Sovereign wealth funds have been established and built in the world for at least 6 decades and are built on the fact that the returns from the resources of the producing and exporting countries of raw materials as financial surplus have become an important part of the capital wealth that can be invested, maximized, and continuously increasing instead of consuming it with large operation budgets, mostly unproductive annual budgets. That's good. It looks to me like they're doing a lot better when it comes to money management. According to the in order to serve the current capital asset resulting from the revenues of raw materials, including oil wealth, the majority of the world's oil-producing countries, in particular, have established sovereign investment funds from their surplus with oil revenues and employed them as capitals in various investment assets. So this will allow them to put a rainy day fund over to the side, that's for sure, so that they're not so reliant on oil revenues to do their budgets. I like this because this fund can also generate income through interest and other means of investing. So yeah, this is a good thing. I would love to see it get established. I think it's going to go a long ways in helping them so that they're not so reliant on just oil revenues. But, I was saying go ahead and spend like crazy and keep investing in the private sectors. But, like this guy is saying, you don't want to be investing in a bunch of unproductive projects. Especially we know that there's a lot of projects out there that had to be re-audited to find out how legit they are. A lot of them the money never went into the projects. They kept the money. Or the project started but never finished. So there's all kinds of corruption that was going on at the time. A sovereign wealth fund would go a long ways in helping Iraq. Not only that, if they could build that sucker up and they get the economy going, that just strengthens the currency. Deputy Governor of the Central Bank speaks to the news agencies about housing loans and their benefits. The Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Iraq confirmed today, Tuesday, the launch of loans worth $5 trillion to address the housing crisis in Iraq, while noting that the disbursement of soft loans to citizens is without interest. The central bank launched an initiative of $5 trillion earlier to support and address the housing crisis in Iraq, noting that the housing initiative is through the real estate bank to purchase housing units and the complexes or outside it, while the housing fund initiative is to finance the construction request. The housing initiative through the real estate bank and the housing fund without interest, and what is taken from the citizens is a simple commission and the payment period for a long period of up to 20 years. So good, this is allowing them to start rebuilding their homes. Yes, I'm sure there's a lot of eager citizens of Iraq that are looking forward to owning a home, having a job, and not have to worry about having their money in the bank and nobody come over and steal it or burn it or whatever else they've done. So the Prime Minister today inaugurated a memorial out there in honor of those who are fighting terrorists and have died. That's real respectful. I like that. So that was launched today. That's just another way of paying his respects. Anyways, that's it for now, you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to chime on in. Do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.